Welcome to Hero Club.
I'm Nick Williams.
And I'm George Primavera.
George and I started playing Dungeons & Dragons with our buddies in college, and we haven't stopped since. Even when we lived on opposite coasts, I would Skype in George on the TV in the living room of my apartment,
while I would DM from the floor of my bathroom so as not to wake up my roommate. When I finally came out to Los Angeles, we started playing with our friends right away.
And when we'd inevitably tell other people about the ultimate betrayals and daring heroics that happened in our games, we realized that they were just hearing a jumbled mess instead of the cinematic blockbuster memories that were in our heads. We wanted to show people how fun and immersive D&D can be, especially those who had never played.
And to do that, we record a full game like normal around the table and then painstakingly cut it down from 4 hours to a clean, math-free episode, so you can experience our memories the way we do.
Just like in a real game, nothing is ever written or planned out ahead of time with the players. The only things we add are music and sound effects.
I am the Dungeon Master. I build the world and the framework for an adventure. The players, like Nick, must then journey through the obstacles I set before them, rolling a 20-sided die and adding character-specific bonuses to see if they succeed. If they beat the number I have in my head, then their action is successful. If not, it is a failure, and there may be consequences. We try to follow the rules of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition as close as we can, but as the Dungeon Master, what I say goes, and there are some things I like to do differently.
Each season is its own contained story, so find one that sounds interesting to you and start from the top. And hey,
welcome to the club. Hero Club presents Bran's Bargain. Chapter 2. The Salted Lobster.
I've a proposition for ye creatures on my killing floor, whose bones would soothe my children as they teethe. Ye can keep this grave to dig, or ye can join my hempen jig, where you'll be legendary ere ye live to breathe. So sails up, tails high, get down and let fly, legendary ere we live to breathe. And when a beast my ship becomes, when rogue waves soak the powder bombs, and ye can't find a weapon to unsheath, ye dash their brains upon the rocks, and tow what's left back to my docks, where you'll be legendary ere ye live to breathe. So sails up, tails high, get down and let fly, legendary ere we live to breathe. Creatures, when ye meet the queen, the raven one is what I mean. Tell that tramp ye still can't leave. Lose your class and lose your name, lose your treasure and lose your game. But you'll be legendary from the ocean to the aviary. Sails up, tails high, get down and let fly, legendary ere we live to breathe. Sails up, tails high, monster storm, look 'em in the eye. We're legendary ere we live to breathe. Even Gills had better heed. Sails up, tails high, get down and let fly, legendary ere we live to breathe. Sails up, tails high, get down and let fly, legendary ere we live to breathe. Sails up, tails high, get down and fly.
Captain Wayland Brand had ventured into some of the worst prisons around the continent and come out with a bargain set of cutthroats and conjurers. Snag Taggish, the scourge of the East Sea, Tibby Feathergill, the murderous axolotl, Celestyna Wozcyk, hunter from the cold lanes in the north, and Flintbeak, the Crown's own arcane science experiment. But I guarantee you, that fancy-dressed hippo was the most rotten of them all. As soon as the not-so-precious cargo was hauled aboard, Taggish's old crew paid the Hempen Jig a visit. it would seem that the Deer's Bill had finally come due.
Amidst a swelling storm, an austere ship of dark, dull red collides with the Hempen Jig, the Emporian galleon making its way out into the East Sea without backup of any kind. Wood splinters, barrels, crates, and netting are thrown asunder, and a horde of scurvy pirates sprint over the bow of their ship and onto the deck of the Hempen Jig, and vicious battle ensues. Standing on top of the bow, fur rippling in the stiffening wind, is a silhouette that, even amidst the clashing swords, sends a hush and a shiver through the violence. In the flashes of musket and blunderbuss, we see Captain Fenwick Doherty.
Captain Fenwick Doherty, a red tabby cat standing around 5'2", with bulging muscles underneath his fur, stands at the tip of the bow, looking down over the ship. He has a red sash across his chest and a scar over his right eye. His left eye is wide open, glaring red, as it looks as if steam is rising up off of his body. He has a large grin spread across his face, ready for battle.
A shout goes up from the blackjacks on deck.
It's Doherty! It's Doherty!
Several of the blackjacks begin to break rank, falling quickly beneath the pirates' swords.
Captain Fenwick raises his scimitar and shouts,
Snag, Taggish, I've come to collect.
At the helm of the Hempen Jig, Wayland Brand surveys the chaos.
Get us out of here, Miss Greentail.
Wayland quickly surveils the battlefield and spots the spellcaster on the other ship. Swiftly drawing his pistol, he takes close aim at the spellcaster and fires a forceful shot, attempting to knock them out of the crow's nest.
We see a fox, laughing maniacally as he weaves a web of fire in his hands.
Snag! I'm here for you! I can't wait to burn your fur up, you...
The shot takes Hagen O'Fauna over the edge as he fails his strength save and falls through the air 100 feet down towards the deck. He makes to grab for some netting and just barely misses and slams into the deck, taking an additional 41 fall damage.
Wayland takes another shot.
As the shot rockets toward the spellcaster, he quickly gets his hands up in time, casts a magical protective barrier, and the bullet is deflected.
Who dare shoot at Hagen O'Fauna?
Wayland takes his third shot, attempting to knock Hagen off of the boat.
I'll burn ye inside out!
He fails his strength save yet again and is cast into the water.
Salted dunderhead. Captain Fenwick, seeing his mage fall into the water, takes 2 swings at the blackjacks in front of him.
2 sailors fall, almost instantly.
As their dead bodies fall to the deck, he starts strutting towards the stern, shouting as he goes, I'm going to rip your soul from your drooked corpse and shove it into your little bottle. Face me, you drooked besom.
A third blackjack drops as Captain Fenwick stares up at Captain Brand, seemingly uninterested, and looks elsewhere for his quarry. Meanwhile, in the water, the freshly drowning mage is swept away by an intense ocean current, instantly sending him 40 feet westward. He swims as hard as he can.
Come on then! Out back to that ship!
And is unable to make any headway towards the galleon. The ocean current is too strong. The screams of this mage are lost amidst the wind, the clashing of metal, and the barrier of thick wood as we descend back into the belly of the Hempen Jig as our 4 prisoners rearm as quickly as they can. Brent Butcher, their slightly dopey guard, holding open a massive chest of all of their belongings.
Right then, here you go!
Flintbeak ruffles the feathers atop his head. So, how long do we wait to just give up the ruminant?
Get salted, you wee little featherbag. You really think that trading me in will do anything to save your life at this point? That's Captain Fenwick Doherty up there, and he's already signed your death warrants. Snag sprints over to the storage container, scoops up a handful of beaded shells that he instantly wraps around his right hand, and grabs an old, crusty flask that he tucks into his rope belt. Snag recenters himself, takes a deep breath. All right, Merdina, time to wake up, lass. And the glowing turquoise energy from his tattoos spreads up to his antlers and into the cocoon hanging there. It reforms, then begins to shake violently, and bursting forth is a hawk-sized death's head moth, glowing with the same magical blue energy that pulses through Snag. Fly, Merdina, and do not be seen! Merdina the moth flies straight up towards the upper deck, incorporeally moving through the wood ceiling.
Snag, in your head, you hear a familiar whisper.
Combat above. Greater combat, even further above.
Snag thinks to Merdina. And what of Doherty? Is he there?
He is here. He hunts you.
Oh, we're salted for sure. To the rest of the group, you better prepare all you've got, because Captain Doherty, he takes no prisoners.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Everybody make a perception check.
Dirty 20.
25.
23.
12.
Everyone but Celestyna hears a massive groan in the ship, and they also feel a slight tilting. Flintbeak, Tibby, and Snag are able to glean that the ship is trying to free itself from something keeping it stuck in place. There is shouting above you.
Snag then ducks into a dark corner and hides.
Celestyna rushes over to the chest of armor and pulls out her scale mail. She starts to put it on, looks across the room, and yells to the nearest 5 deckhands. Help me put this on if you want to live.
The Blackjacks turn to look and sprint towards Celestyna, seeking to help her put her scale mail on.
While the deckhands run over to help Celestyna put on her armor, she lumbers over to the trunk and grabs her harpoon. Celestyna's harpoon is a thing to behold. Standing as tall as she is, this harpoon is mostly red and speckled, covered in a lobster carapace, with folded wings hugging the shaft, and its pointed end glows a deathly green, doused in poison.
Tibby gleefully looks into the chest of armor and gingerly picks up the mask that is sitting there.
Finally.
Are you ready?
Oh, yes, Tibby. I missed you.
There's no one like us, huh? As Tibby ties the mask to the back of her head, a soft white glow emanates. After she has the mask secured, Tibby easily lifts her plate mail armor out of the chest.
Hello? I could use a lot of help over here. Getting this on.
Tibby also goes to start putting her plate armor on. The Blackjacks are rushing to assist.
With a derisive click of his beak towards Snag, Flintbeak says, I didn't realize the Scourge of the East Sea was such a sultan coward.
You expect me to go up there with Captain Doherty and his screaming horde? I dunna think so, boy. I may be criminally insane, but I'm not suicidal.
No, you're doing just about what I expected you would.
Assault, yeah!
And Flintbeak reaches for his effects, pulling 2 pistols from the box and holstering them carefully on his hip and over his shoulder. As Flintbeak charges towards the nearest staircase to the next deck up, he begins singing joyfully to himself under his breath. Oh, what is one to do when he's got you feeling blue? Once your beau was quite the bovine, now your bull will barely moo. Do you cry over your tea, turn your cheek, or bend the knee? No, you kick him in the tail spot and you send him off to sea. Go battle on, or cat'll fly a pirate's flag with glee. But once you're finished flying, don't come crying back to me.
Flintbeak storms from the upper hold into the gun deck above and sees chaos. Pirates have already somehow made their way down to this deck and are engaging Blackjacks, while the gunner captain, the miniature pony Benjamin Trent, is pushing against the hull of the Salted Lobster, which has pierced through the Hempen Jig's hull in a mash of metal and wood.
I cannot get it free! Somebody help!
Aye, Celestyna, we could use you up here. With that, Flintbeak pulls the pistol at his shoulder and takes aim at the 2 nearest pirates.
Roll attacks.
17.
Hit. Roll damage.
23.
1 pirate falls as he is blasted backward over one of the cannons.
and Flintbeak trains his gun on the next. 21.
Hit.
17 damage.
And this pirate is blasted out the opening made for the cannon into the water.
Flintbeak laughs as he kisses the smoking pistol.
Below, blackjacks begin assisting Tibby and Celestyna with putting their armor on. On the gun deck, a blackjack or two falls underneath the pirates' blades. The pirates, exercising their element of surprise as well as Captain Fenwick's frightening presence, decimate the blackjack soldiers on the main deck. At least 6 of them fall. The pirates take not even one casualty yet. Brand assesses the chaos.
Well, it looks like there's going to be some changing of plans.
Wayland wheels around, firing 3 shots at the nearest pirates.
And as each shot rings throughout the night, they all drop to the deck dead.
Captain Fenwick charges towards the helm, seeing his pirates fall one by one.
A random blackjack sprints forward, stabbing Fenwick's side, dealing 11 damage, halved to 5 because of Captain Doherty's rage, and he continues as if unbothered.
Captain Doherty squares off with Captain Brand. Sorry, but I'm going to need this ship. I've got blood to deal. Captain Fenwick grapples Brand in an attempt to throw him over the edge.
Captain Brand and Captain Doherty will now roll opposed athletics checks.
35.
26.
And Brand is shoved over the edge, splashing into the water. Unnoticed, the fox mage drifts further out to sea, his cries lost to the wind, his hopes of returning to the vessel lost.
Snag rolls around his cover and sprints towards the kitchen at the front of the ship, closing his eyes and commanding Merdina, "Weapon to a frenzy." Merdina, on the top deck, targeting the large group of pirates on the enemy ship, flips around so that the skull on her back faces them and pulses once, casting the spell Frenzy.
The group of pirates just about to jump off of the salted lobster and onto the Hempen Jig, murder in their eyes, twitch as the murder turns to something more feral, and their eyes glow a luminescent, ghostly blue. And all of those pirates affected immediately turn on each other. Snag, as you blast into the kitchens, you immediately stumble upon a hiding Fletcher Finnegan and Gertrude Hillsby.
Please don't kill us. Take as many taters as you want.
You go ahead and do it, you salted coward. Oh, it's you.
What are you doing? Skidge your bahoochies over so I have room to hide.
Meanwhile, on the top deck, Skizza yanks at the helm trying to free the Hempen Jig, but is unsuccessful, feeling a very strong resistance in place. Realizing it may be hopeless, she turns around, pulls her cutlass, and attacks Captain Doherty.
How about you then?
Captain Doherty takes 5 damage, halved to 2. On the gun deck, Benjamin Trent continues to struggle against the interlocked 2 ships, trying to separate them. He is also unsuccessful. Celestyna, below decks, you finish affixing your scale armor, thanks to the help of several blackjacks.
Celestyna sprints up the stairs to the gun deck, takes a look around, and then closes in on herself, conforming to the color of the deck and becoming virtually invisible.
Celestyna, roll a stealth check.
22.
Celestyna hides just below the lip of the gun deck, getting ready to pounce. Tibby, blackjacks are affixing pieces of plate armor to your limbs now.
That tickles.
I grow impatient with these whelps touching us.
Well, I don't mind it. But let's hurry up and let's get upstairs.
Tibby awkwardly scuttles, surrounded by the blackjacks affixing her armor, towards the stairs.
Flintbeak still does not see any of his fellow prisoners with him on the gun deck.
Celestyna, we need you up here!
With that, Flintbeak reaches to a flask on his hip, pulls a vial of his own creation, and downs it, increasing his intelligence score by 3. As the liquid shivers through his body, he runs toward the nearest blackjack. For the queen, right?
What?
Good enough!
Wait!
And grabbing hold of his arm as he and the blackjack disappear in a crackling of electricity that comes from a mechanical device on his back. The shockwave of electricity he leaves behind lashes out at the surrounding pirates.
The pirates fail their constitution save and are blasted backward into the gun deck, lying still, smoking slightly.
Flintbeak and the confused blackjack appear in a bolt of lightning on the deck of the Salted Lobster.
What just happened? What just happened?
Just fire at anyone you see. We're taking this ship.
As Flintbeak appears on the Salted Lobster's deck, to his right, at the bow of the Salted Lobster, he sees pirates rip into each other, their eyes ghostly blue. As a short, brutal battle ensues, half of the pirates fall.
Well, I'll be salted, Taggish. Nicely done.
The light flickers and fades as this group of pirates succeeds their saving throw and realizes what they've done.
Oh, hug! Taggish!
Meanwhile, the Blackjacks and the pirates on the deck of the Hempen Jig are locked in vicious combat. The pirates maintain their extreme advantage and mow through the Blackjacks on deck. On the deck of the Salted Lobster, Flintbeak incurs 9 attacks from cutlass and musket shot. One of the pirates rushes forward, stabs Flintbeak in the side, dealing him an unknown amount of damage, as Flintbeak cannot feel the piercing wound. And then, after a flurry of musket shot,
a burst of static energy pulses out from Flintbeak's very skin, protecting him with a wave of electromagnetism.
Wayland allows himself to be carried by the current under the ship, holding out his hand, grabbing onto the rigging as he pops out on the other side. He deftly climbs up back onto the ship, takes aim at a line of pirates, and fires a piercing shot, hitting every single pirate in the line.
7 pirates who line up at the exact moment twitch as the bullet carries through, and they all drop. The tide of the battle changes with one crack of a pistol.
Brand turns and takes his next 2 shots directly at Captain Doherty.
Carefully aimed, each bullet wings Fenwick.
Brand, furious, taps into his strong will and continues his onslaught. Wayland moves further onto the deck and takes 2 more shots at Captain Doherty.
Fenwick avoids the first bullet, and the second one grazes him.
Captain Fenwick recognizes Snag's magic on his ship and lets out a brutal scream.
Come, Lachlan. Come and face me, you wet witch.
Captain Fenwick drops to all fours and rushes below deck.
Fenwick Doherty sprints across the deck, making for the steps down into the gunhold. But as soon as he gets the door open and descends, he disappears into the ropes and netting hanging from the ceiling, and like a shadow, is one with the darkness.
He is coming for you.
In the kitchen, Snag holds, waiting to see Fenwick come through the door.
Celestyna, from your hidden position, you hear the door to the deck open and close, but nobody comes down the stairs.
Celestyna comes out of hiding. She bounds over to the bow of the ship where there are 2 pirates. She launches her harpoon at the closest one.
Roll an attack.
19.
Hit, roll damage.
14 damage.
The first pirate drops, the harpoon sticking out of his sternum.
Finally, in the fight. She then turns her weapon on the second pirate and throws again. 13.
The harpoon thuds into the wood just over this pirate's right shoulder.
Shifty little grass eater. And Celestyna wrenches the harpoon out of the wood, turns it around, and stabs the pirate with the poison barb at the other end of the weapon. 19.
Hit, roll damage.
9.
The pirate does not fall as you pull the poison barb free, but he does go rigid and fall to the ground, paralyzed, as he fails his constitution save against the poison. Tibby, the last piece of plate armor is finally affixed. All 4 Blackjacks immediately back away from you.
Finally, it is time.
Just like old times, eh, Tagra?
Time is an illusion.
I love it when you say things like that. So funny.
Tibby, now with her plate armor fully attached, runs up the stairs to get to the top deck of the ship.
The air is fresh.
Take a deep breath and let's go.
Tibby makes eyes on the pirates around her. Her hands crackle with purple energy as she sends 3 Eldritch blasts from them.
Roll 3 attacks.
23.
Hit. Roll damage.
8 damage.
One pirate is knocked back, reeling from the blast that now causes his chest to smoke.
16.
Roll damage.
10 damage.
And that pirate drops, motionless to the deck.
18.
The pirate behind him is struck. Roll damage.
12 damage.
And he is blasted back into some crates and disappears unmoving.
Good, Tibby. Let's do that again.
I was thinking the same thing.
Tibby makes eyes with the other pirates around her and makes 3 more Eldritch Blast attacks using her action surge. 29.
Hit, roll damage.
6 damage.
One pirate reels as he is struck in the leg.
15.
Hit.
14 damage.
This pirate slams into the mast and slumps to the ground.
29.
Hit, roll damage.
9 damage.
And this last blast strikes another pirate directly in front of Tibby, but he grits his teeth and remains standing.
As her final blast lands, Tibby reaches up and pulls the mask onto her face, revealing a terrifying jaguar.
Blinded by darkness truth.
The soft glow that once adorned the mask now glows bright and blinding.
Finding himself surrounded, Flintbeak's blood starts to pulse faster through his body, the electric current literally charging it faster than normal. His whole body and movement starts to hasten. Now reeling with the electric current inside of him, Flintbeak pushes up off the deck and flies for the wheel of the salted lobster.
After taking one minor wound from a passing cutlass, that static shield once again forms in place and deflects a second sword. Flintbeak reaches the helm.
Moving faster than he has in a long time, Flintbeak tries to maneuver the enemy ship out of range of the Hempen Jig.
Make a water vehicles check.
27.
Flintbeak throws the helm as hard as he can, and when it comes to the very, very end of its rotation, there's a groaning and a crunching of wood as the salted lobster begins to free itself from the Hempen Jig. As the ship begins to rip along the side of the Hempen Jig, causing a great deal of damage to both ships, several pirates are knocked down and crushed by the now sweeping stern.
Laughing into the pounding storm, Flintbeak grabs another bottle from his hip, downing it, and increasing his dexterity score by 3.
Flintbeak, arcing with electricity and literally vibrating, causes a humming around him. The pirates converge on Flintbeak. 7 shots ring out, but every single bullet easily reflects off of the static shield surrounding Flintbeak. He doesn't even flinch. Meanwhile, several pirates converge on the blackjack that was left on the deck of the salted lobster, ending him quickly.
Wait!
Pirates run up on the edge of the salted lobster's deck and point muskets over towards the Hempen Jig. Tibby will take 5 shots. 2 of them hit, 1 rather severely. Tibby takes 28 piercing damage, reduced by 6 thanks to her heavy armor proficiency, bringing her down to 128 points of health. And then, crawling over the deck, sopping wet, with ropes around their hips, some more aquatically inclined pirates, otters, seals, and the like, get above deck, wielding wicked-looking weapons and surround Tibby. And then the light around her mask flashes, and 4 of the 7 pirates are immediately blinded, swinging wildly with disadvantage. Tibby is hit 4 times, taking 21 damage, reduced by 12. She only takes 9 slashing damage total, bringing her down to 119 points of health.
This Greentail, get us out of here. Brand turns to an empty space nearby him. If you hadn't noticed, the time for subterfuge has gone long ago! Brand will then take 3 shots on 3 of the blinded pirates.
And 3 blinded pirates drop around Tibby.
Nice shot.
Meanwhile, below decks in the kitchens, Fletcher, Finnegan, and Gertrude Hillsby cower in the corner.
What do we do, Mr. Taggish?
I'd pray to any god you believe in, because the devil's on his way right now.
All of a sudden, from the darkness, a scimitar cuts off one of Snag's antlers, slicing it clean off onto the floor. He takes 19 damage, bringing him down to 80 points of health. As the cocoon drops to the floor, you feel Merdina's presence wisp away.
Remember all the horrible sins we committed together, Snag. If I held the knife, you held the victim. Remember as we killed all those poor lads, and you brought them back over and over, each time coming back twisted and wrong. If I'm going to hell, I'm saving you a seat.
Snag, your readied action kicks in.
Snag goes from the hunch of that initial pain and slowly turns, revealing glowing blue eyes, and in an echoey voice begins to hex Captain Doherty.
You kind stranger, look here closer. Mean you harm? Who why no, sir. Oh, what's this? You look so pale. My evil eye shall make you wail.
As the hex's recitation is completed, there's a beat of silence, and Fenwick laughs.
Ha 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 ha! I know your magic. I raised you for a boy for the last decade. Don't try your wet witch powers on me. I'm not frightened of you, Lachlan.
Doherty slashes at Snag 2 more times, dealing him an additional 24 points of damage, bringing him down to 60 points of health.
Poor little kitty.
And Snag casts Power Word Stun.
Captain Doherty convulses, goes stiff, and his eyes roll into the back of his head. He is stunned. The whole ship begins to careen to the right as Skizza Greentail throws the helm, and the Hempen Jig begins to move away from the salted lobster.
Having cleared the gun deck, Celestyna runs to the upper deck of the ship and attempts to skewer the first pirate she sees, the last blind one. 22.
Roll damage.
15. Take that. Celestyna shucks the dead pirate off to the side and goes in for the next one. 13.
Miss.
Celestyna quickly flips the harpoon and attempts to stab the pirate with the poison end. 19.
Hit, roll damage.
9.
The pirate does not fall for a moment, but then he too succumbs to the poison and becomes paralyzed, falling prone onto the deck.
Relishing in her kills, Tibby feels a warm energy fill her up. The mask crackles with power. She is propelled into the sky, the force of thunder lifting her off the ground.
All of the pirates around Tibby slam into the deck and do not move. Celestyna, you are also within range of this thunderstep. Make a Constitution saving throw.
21.
You take 6 points of damage, bringing you down to 124 points of health.
What are you thinking? You'll not save me here?
Tibby lands between 2 more pirates further up towards the stern.
I'm sorry. I'm just having some fun. What do you think about that, Tagra?
Delicious, Tibby. I'm almost full from this feast.
Surrounded by lunatics.
Still aboard the salted lobster and with one hand firmly holding the wheel away from the Hempen Jig, Flintbeak reaches to the pistol at his hip. As his hand wraps around the spiked hilt of the weapon, he immediately begins to bleed into the already stained gun. As his blood makes contact with it, electricity pulses around the weapon. Flintbeak then dips the tip of the pistol into a small pouch of gunpowder resting on his hip and fires 3 times at the mast of the ship. As the electricity meets the gunpowder, the bullets alight with fire.
Almost instantly, with 3 perfectly placed shots, the mast is aflame, burning in the storm.
Crying out at the storm around him, Flintbeak makes eyes at the surrounding pirates.
You can try if you like!
As their ship burns, all of them turn their attention to Flintbeak on the upper deck. Musket shots ring out through the night as Flintbeak takes 14 attacks. The static shield explodes into being. Not a single shot makes its mark, the bullets evaporating in the electricity. On the deck of the Hempen Jig, 2 pirates rush Tibby and are immediately blinded. They both make attacks at disadvantage and only one finds its mark. Tibby takes 7 slashing damage, reduced by 3 to 4, bringing her down to 115 points of health. Below deck, Gertrude, Hillsby, and Fletcher Finnegan dart out of the kitchen, screaming,
"We gotta get out of here!"
Fletcher, move!
And blackjack soldiers stream into the kitchen, surrounding Doherty, while Snag stands over him. And Snag, from above you, you hear a call.
Broadside!
And the deck of the Salted Lobster is peppered in cannon fire. Most of the shots are unfortunately glancing, but some damage is done to the ship, and a couple of pirates are blown asunder, impacting in the water below and carried off by the swift ocean tide.
Brand quickly reloads and sprints across the deck to head below. He's down below! Follow!
At the end of Captain Doherty's turn, he makes a saving throw against being stunned. And fails, remaining stunned and going to his knees.
Snag stands up to his full height, which is pretty formidable when he's not hunched over. He begins moving his hands in a flowy back and forth motion, and water begins to wisp up through the portholes of the ship. "Ye should not have come here, Fenwick." As his arms swirl around him, a sphere of ocean water begins to grow from them, testing the limits of the kitchen walls. Cups and food items begin to lift up and float, and he and Fenwick are completely submerged.
The blackjacks reel back in terror at this powerful magic.
Understanding crosses over Fenwick's face and looks Snag directly in the eyes, and a slight smile appears on his lips.
Snag, his voice echoing through the water, seemingly amplified, says,
"Broken wing now dangling loose, splinter kneecap shorn from use, crack and snap and sprain and sprawl, hubble, bubble, make them fall."
As he hexes Fenwick Doherty, which he automatically fails the save of due to his condition.
Captain Doherty, his movement magically impeded, finds himself stuck in the water sphere. Meanwhile, above deck, Skizza calls out orders to the few blackjacks remaining.
All right, everyone, get the lead out of your shorts! Sails up, sails up! I want as many beasts as we can spare on oars! Go, below decks!
Celestyna runs over to the last pirate on the bow of the boat and sticks him with her harpoon. 21.
Hit, roll damage.
15.
And he goes over the side.
Celestyna turns around and sees 2 blinded pirates surrounding Tibby, and hurls her spear after them. 24.
Hit, roll damage.
11.
This pirate falls immediately as the harpoon rips across the deck.
Celestyna lets out a guttural whisper. And suddenly the harpoon's wings, which until now have been hugging the shaft, are set loose and flap vigorously, returning the harpoon to Celestyna's hand, piercing the last blind pirate on its way back.
That pirate fails his dexterity save, and the poison barb stabs him in the chest, and he drops unmoving. The ladybug wings wrap themselves back around the shaft of the harpoon.
Tibby kicks the body that landed at her feet and frowns.
Aw, you couldn't think to save one of them for me?
You're not my friend, I'm not your friend.
Oh, are you mad that I hurt you?
No, not mad. You're mad.
Tibby, your sadness distracts you. A meal waits just across the water.
Tibby turns her head towards the Salted Lobster and is pleasantly surprised to see a lot of pirates remaining.
Oh!
Tibby, make a perception check.
Dirty 20.
The mast that is burning atop the ship has become weaker, its structural integrity compromised.
Seeing the mast on fire, Tibby's black eyes seem to twinkle.
Is it my birthday?
Tibby aims her 3 eldritch blasts at this mast.
Roll 3 attacks.
18. 15. 21.
All 3 eldritch blasts impact into the mast. Roll damage.
27 force damage.
After the 3rd impact of the eldritch blast, the wood splinters, there's a sickening groan, and the fiery mast falls into the deck of the Salted Lobster. The pirates don't stand a chance.
As the salted lobster burns around him, Flintbeak turns to the 4 remaining pirates. We seem to find ourselves in an impasse. You're short on ship. We're short on crew. How's about we make a trade? Lay down your weapons, and we will give you safe passage.
Make a persuasion check with advantage.
17.
All 4 pirates drop their cutlasses.
Yeah, we've all give up, like 100%.
Good man. Welcome to the Queen's Royal Navy. Hoist white sails. It's time we surrender. Flintbeak turns the wheel back towards the other ship so that the crew might board safely.
Unable to hoist any flags, several pirates go to a crate and hang a white flag over the side.
What does that mean, Tibby? Shoot it.
Below decks, Brand storms down the stairs, blasting into the upper hold after passing the gun deck, and sees several blackjacks backed up against the wall, staring into the kitchen, which seems to be completely underwater. A drowning Fenwick Doherty, wide-eyed in the doorway.
Upon seeing Brand enter from the other side of the water, Snag snarls out,
Leave him be! He's mine!
Brand, curious, holsters his gun and folds his arms behind his back, watching intently.
Captain Doherty will make another Constitution saving throw against being stunned from within the water. With a 21, Captain Doherty is no longer stunned, but it takes all of his effort to shirk this condition. And still, he feels the magical hex impeding his movement.
Snag cackles, extending the hobble hex.
Now for my first command as your new captain. I command ye to drown.
Water begins to spring up within Doherty's breast, filling his lungs as blue light emanates around him. He automatically fails the Constitution save to gasp for air, for when he opens his mouth, only more water greets him, and Captain Doherty is locked in a kind of silent scream. The blackjacks back away, going upstairs as quickly as they can, not wishing to see what is about to transpire. But Brand watches all of it. Above deck, the 2 ships move alongside each other, Flintbeak slapping a gangplank down and allowing the pirates to cross with their hands raised, disarmed. And then Skizza Greentail throws the helm, and the salted lobster burns in the storm, disappearing beneath one final massive wave. As the salted lobster is left behind in the darkness, the storm abates a bit. The amplitude of each wave reduces, and the stiffness of the wind relents. Down in the depths of the Hempen Jig, in the now sodden kitchen, Snag Taggish stands over the still form of Fenwick Doherty, the water having been banished from the interior. And in the stillness, as Captain Brand watches on, a bubble appears over Fenwick's open mouth, and then it begins to extend upward, as if pulled by some sort of gravity. It elongates like a drip of water about to fall upward, and as it disconnects, rapidly moving up towards the ceiling, Snag Taggish is there to catch it.
Snag pops the cork on the crusty old flask on his hip, and the bubble sucks towards it, as if with a vacuum. If you thought you could go toe-to-toe with me, Fenwick, you never respected me at all. And he pops the cork back in. Now where's me salt and antler?
Roll an investigation check.
14.
It lies on the floor, kicked under an enormous cast iron skillet. The open, destroyed cocoon wilts and turns to ash in your hands.
Oh, it's okay, Martina. Do not worry yourself. Snag takes the wilting cocoon, moves it smoothly in his palms, and with one fluid motion, reattaches it to his other antler. It sticks, and then slowly grows again, until it looks like it could surely carry a caterpillar. Snag looks at the antler in his hand. Ugh, piece of junk. Never used it anyway. And he tosses it out the porthole.
There is a thumping of bootsteps from above, as blackjacks and newly shanghaied pirates descend into the Hempen Jig. Celestyna, Tibby, Flintbeak, as well as Skizza Greentail, Benjamin Trent, and Brent Butcher. But the most prominent figure standing before the kitchen is Captain Brand. unblinking eyes staring at Snag.
Oi, you sure are a jammy little hooffoot there. You lose some weight since I last saw you.
No thanks to you, by the way. I was down here all by my lonesome. That's alright. Old Snag Taggish had it taken care of. You're welcome.
Celestyna looks at Snag. Don't pay him any mind. His kind are always trying to start trouble.
Salt is that supposed to mean?
All you blackjacks are the same. Destroy everything wherever you go. They put you in jail and still you wear their uniform.
Flintbeak seethes, but knows better than to retort in front of Brand.
Brand slowly uncrosses his arms and begins to clap. Ah, yes. Camaraderie. How quaint. I didn't think any of you had it in you. Miss Greentail.
Aye, sir.
Show these four to their rooms.
About that, I actually had a question about our sleeping arrangements. Looking behind you there, I count 4 new sailors, all wearing Captain Doherty's colours. Seems to me, you'd want to put that untrustworthy lot into cells, instead of the beast that saved your hide.
Snag, make a persuasion check.
16.
Ah, there's that silver tongue I've heard so much about. Understand this. Those in the cells don't do work on the ship. If you are out of your cell, you will be put to work. Run ragged. What I'm offering you is rest. Surely you can appreciate the gift I give.
Fair points all around. But one more wee ask, if you'll indulge me. Would you mind letting these two, he gestures to Tibby and Celestyna, go to bed in their gear? Because your tail spot's out the windy. If you think that having them put on their armor every single time we get into a scrap is a winning strategy.
Snag, roll a persuasion check.
29.
Funnily enough, I do actually agree. This was one of the many restrictions. That was not my choice, but seeing as how we have now tested the limits of your leashes, armor in the cells should be fine, as I can't have any of you dying on me.
Skizza Greentail walks forward, as well as Brent Butcher, holding the hand and arm restraining manacles, and begin to affix them to each of you, allowing Celestyna and Tibby to maintain their armor.
But do not forget to retrieve the mask.
Oh, actually, sir, I'd like to keep it on.
Roll an intimidation check at disadvantage.
23.
Brand's eyes widen as he stares at the mask on Tibby's head.
If your intention was to frighten me, you have done so. Keep that mask far away from this one.
They will not separate us again. Kill them all, Tibby. Let us show them what we are. Wait.
And the mask is removed by Brent Butcher.
Mr. Butcher, please meet me after this. We have something to talk about.
Brent Butcher's stomach audibly drops.
Now, I understand that you might think I'm being harsh or not fun. Simply put, I do not care. However, I will say, genuinely good work.
And Tibby, Celestyna, Snag, and Flintbeak are bodily shoved into their cells. The doors are sealed shut and locked.
Good night, everyone.
And then there is silence on this deck of the ship. In this windowless brig, the silence is punctuated by groaning wood and lapping waves. Everybody make a perception check.
24.
26.
16.
14.
Snag, you poke your head out of your cell, looking after the ascending footsteps, and notice that they have not left anyone here to guard the cells. At least, that's how it appears. As you stare out into this empty deck, your eyes affix on a point in the middle distance. Something looks odd, as if there's some sort of refraction of light, a disruption of moonlight, and then this is gone. Celestyna, while staring across the hall into Tibby's cell, you see something behind her. Just the faintest glow of purple under the floorboards at her feet.
Celestyna approaches the bars of the cell, looking closer into Tibby's. Tibby, do you see anything glowing on the floor of your cell? I thought I saw something.
Is it my sparkling personality?
Celestyna is not amused.
Tibby, make an investigation check with advantage.
16.
You do see just the faintest purple glowing from deep below the floorboards at your feet. The glow is faint, but if you move your head to the right angle, you can make it out.
Tibby quickly falls to the floor to get a closer look through the floorboards.
All you see is the purple light.
Excuse me? Is, anyone there?
I am here, Tibby. They have placed me somewhere cold. The wind is strong here, Tibby. I do not like it.
Huh. Are you glowing purple right now?
No, Tibby. What is it that you see?
Just a light.
A light. This does not interest me. I suffer without you, Tibby. Retrieve me at once.
I was gonna say the same thing about me. I also suffer without you. We'll talk later, though. I wasn't trying to talk to you right now. Sorry.
Who were you trying to speak to, Tibby?
Snag pokes his head out again. Alright, are we gonna talk about how she's always talking to herself? Am I supposed to believe that that's the mask she's talking to?
What is going on?
Yes, I'm usually talking to the mask, but right now I'm trying to see who's underneath me.
Underneath you? I will investigate for you, Tibby. There are no such magical restraints on me, and our connection supersedes their foolish arcana.
Foolish.
I will report soon.
Take your time.
I'm glad your jokes are so funny. What is your friend saying?
It seems like we've got some, magical intel lurking for us. It's my friend. He's gonna do a bit of snooping.
Oh, that's good.
Like he's gonna walk around? Still a mask, right?
I know, it's so silly, huh? I actually don't understand either.
Well, forgive me for not trusting this very reliable narrator then, but I might do a little bit of searching myself. Flintbeak, now joining the conversation, has spent the last several minutes trying to tap into any magic around him, calling on past arcane experiences.
As you go to access the well of magic deep within you, the restraints around your arms suddenly glow purple. The sigils light up, and your magic is suppressed.
Well, that's a bit frustrating, isn't it?
Did you just try using your magic?
Aye?
I've been trying to get Merdina out of her cocoon since we got put in here, to no avail.
Well, there's something going on down there.
I think it's the captain spying on us.
Excuse me, who's Mardina? Is that your friend or something?
Did you not see the Death's Head Moth casting spells and the like up on the top deck during the battle?
No, unfortunately, I think I was down here getting my armor on. It took a bit. Do you talk to her?
All the time. Not unlike you and your mask. Except for mine's cuter.
Do you want to say that again?
Not really. Well, on that note, good night, Merdina. And Snag turns over and goes to sleep.
Well, if no one is going to feed us, might as well rest. And Celestyna curls into a big furry ball and goes to sleep.
Tibby gets really close to the wall separating her from Flintbeak and whispers,
I really like that song you sang earlier.
My pleasure, milady. And Flintbeak leans against the wall, closes his eyes, and starts to whistle.
Flintbeak, roll a performance check.
19.
Flintbeak's beautiful avian singing permeates every corner of the ship, and the prisoners and crew alike are lulled slowly to sleep.
Flintbeak stops, checks the device implanted into his spine, and making sure it's still working, goes to sleep.
And all of you dream, Flintbeak. As your eyes close, it's almost instantaneous. You are no longer in the brig aboard the Hempen Jig. You are in a dark stone chamber, bound by shackles and copper coil, the hum of electricity surrounding you. And in front of you is a short, plump tapir woman.
How are we today, Flintbeak?
Oh, you know, same as always.
I notice you've been digging in your cell again. You know that escape is futile.
Just something to make the days go by.
I've never made a bird burrow, but I'll consider it a compliment. A testament to the rigor of my tests.
Eric, switch off Flintbeak's suppressor.
No, you wouldn't do that now, would you? Come on.
A tall figure looms behind you and flicks a switch on the device implanted in your spine. And you feel everything.
We need you a bit more malleable, I'm afraid.
Turn the device up. I want to see how much he can endure.
Your limbs twitch as electricity is sent through copper coils and into your body. The pain is excruciating. And then all of a sudden, the shackles release and your hands are free. Margaret Palmer stands in front of you completely vulnerable.
Body moving before his brain, Flintbeak extends a feathered hand and lightly explodes towards her.
And impacts on the wall, a black scorch mark. Margaret Palmer is nowhere to be seen. In fact, you are alone in this chamber suddenly, as her laughter echoes.
Yes! 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 More lightning! Yes!
The copper coils are no longer here, and yet the pain returns. And Flintbeak's nightmare continues, long into the night. Snag, your dream starts much more peacefully. A younger version of yourself, sitting on a jetty alone at the docks. None of your tattoos scar your fur. In your hand, you clutch the letter from your father, a farewell, as he has explicated his intent never to return to you or your mother. Abandoned, you sit on the beach, looking wistfully out to the sunset.
Snag stares at the letter, and as tears well up in his eyes, his face turns from sorrow to rage. He takes out a small matchbook, strikes a match, and burns the letter. Sultan coward.
The letter burns in your hand, eventually leaving only a small scrap in your hand, the signature of your father. And as you let it go, the breeze taking it out into the water, you notice something else floating towards you. A little shape at first, and then it looks like a cork, bobbing up and down in the water. And attached to that cork, a fat, crusty bottle picks up on a wave, is carried into the shore, and rests at your feet.
Snag stands up, surveys the surroundings, almost as if he's worried he's going to get in trouble for taking something that doesn't belong to him. Checks the horizon briefly for any sort of wreck,
and finds none.
Scoops down and picks it up.
You see your name written across the bottle's surface.
He turns it around in the sun, trying to get a better look at it.
It is completely opaque.
He puts the cork to his teeth and pulls.
The name Taggish lights up red and disappears. And all of a sudden, Lachlan Taggish reels backward and begins to sputter and cough. And salt water spills over his chin in an endless waterfall.
Snag stumbles back and falls against the sand.
As Snag's hands move to his throat, desperately gasping for air, the salt water is unending, and soon he goes still, and the water stops. With wide, dilated pupils and a bloated form, Lachlan Taggish lies drowned on the beach, and standing over him is his father.
You always were a weak one, Junior. Why didn't you be a good lad and die? Go on, Junior. Follow in your old man's footsteps.
As Snag's dream fades into chaotic blackness, Tibby, your dream starts off much differently. You float in the void of deep space, wreathed in an orb of power, the mask of Tagra fixed firmly along your face. glowing along its runic inscriptions. Your goal is accomplished. You have fulfilled Tagra's wishes, floating in space, in front of the sun.
It is time, Tibby. We must consume soul itself.
Wow! Did you ever think this moment was really gonna happen?
Yes, Tibby. I have been assured since the beginning.
The sun flares. It dulls instantly into a deep, dark red and begins to absorb into your form. Soul is yours, Tibby and Tagra. You achieve godhood. You are immortal. You are all-powerful. And you...
Help me.
This voice interrupts your dream.
Please. Help me.
Tibby, as you turn around, turning away from the waning sun, behind you floats a small owl with bright yellow eyes and little pinprick pupils. He is bound in chains, wreathed in purple light.
Please help me. You're the only one that can help me.
Who are you?
I am beneath. Help me, Tibby. Time is running short.
But I'm a god right now.
You turn around, the sun is gone, the mask is no longer on your face, and as you whip back around, the owl is gone, and you are completely and utterly alone.
Help me, Tibby, like you couldn't help your brother.
I'll try.
Tibby says to nothing, and her dream continues in blackness. Celestyna, you dream of home, just after a hunt, lugging your fresh kill of an ice worm through the frigid wastes of the cold lands. You drag it up the hill back to your village, affixed to a large wooden sled that you pull with ropes tied around your frame. You look up, and the sun is just starting to set on the other side of the hill, lighting the sky up orange, red, and yellow. And then all of a sudden, a few flakes of snow drift by you, and then a few more. But there's something strange. There are no clouds in the sky. And then you look a little bit closer at the snow falling past your face, and see that it is gray and wispy. Ash and cinder drift past you, melting the snow at your feet.
Celestyna sniffs twice, confirming what she thinks she sees, and then looks to her village and sets off at a sprint.
Celestyna, as you sprint up the hill, the weight of the ice worm behind you slows you and prevents you from climbing. But you know on the other side of the hill, the flames grow higher and the screams grow louder.
Celestyna doffs the sled and keeps running.
Sprinting up towards the top of the hill, the screams crescendo, and then right when you crest, the only sound is the burning, crackling, and snapping of wood in an inferno.
No.
Emporian Navy ships disappearing back to the ocean.
No. No! Celestyna runs through the village, using her paw to shield her from some of the smoke, and tries to find any survivors.
Is there anyone alive? Anyone?
No one answers Celestyna's call.
Celestyna runs out of range of the flames and falls to her knees.
And as you look up into the sky, Celestyna, praying for some kind of deus ex machina to help you, a hand reaches down from the sky. It caresses your face for a moment, and then slams you into the side of your cell. Skizza Greentail awakens you.
Up with ya. You're needed above deck.
I hope you mean for breakfast.
Celestyna, your fellow prisoners are still sleeping as your cell door is opened, and Commander Greentail points you towards the stairs leading upward.
Celestyna gets up and shakes off her fur.
I hope you know that I allow you to handle me this way.
And she walks towards the upper deck.
Skizza Greentail grabs the back of your armor and shoves you to the staircase before you can walk up it.
You best remind yourself who you're speaking to.
And she pulls a dagger out of her belt and holds it to your throat.
It'd be so easy to carry out justice right here. Just one quick flick.
Justice? Do you know anything about me?
You're a fugitive.
Do you know how I became a fugitive?
Attempted assassination, wasn't it?
Aha, not true. Perhaps you should educate yourself before you walk around with little knives.
The dagger points deeper into your neck.
You were arrested trying to kill Philip Darkwater at a theatrical event. Am I incorrect?
Do you have a relationship with this man?
Roll an insight check, Celestyna.
21.
The disgust in Commander Greentail's face is what you notice first. The mere suggestion of this being about a personal relationship insults her. As she steps back from you, you see a fierceness in her eye. This woman eats, sleeps, and breathes black and gold.
Yes. I admire your loyalty, but might I suggest you think for yourselves.
Walk! And she kicks you up the stairs. As you ascend, you walk out into the pre-dawn, the cold wind dappling your fur, and you see Captain Brand standing at the bow of the ship. His back turned to you, arms folded behind.
Celestyna approaches Captain Brand.
Miss Wozcyk, good morning. That'll be all, Miss Greentail.
Commander Greentail snaps her heels together, salutes, and walks back towards the helm.
Lovely talking with you.
She spits on the deck.
I like her.
I trust you slept well.
Would have slept better on a full stomach.
Of course. We'll make sure you have something to eat. Soon enough. Between you and me, I've researched your history. Fascinating.
Celestyna darkens at this.
Is that what you call it?
Oh, do not mistake me for the rest. I understand why you did what you did. I understand that there are many shades of colors between black and gold, but what you did was illegal. However just it might have been, which is a boon for me. I needed your expertise.
Brand unfolds his arms and gestures towards the ocean.
What do you see?
Celestyna, make a perception check.
28.
As your eyes scan the water, immediately you notice something below the surface. A cloudiness of sorts. And though the water is dark, as the sun hasn't quite risen above the horizon yet, there is a roiling that is separate from the ocean's current that you clock. A black fogginess beneath the water. Make a survival check.
23.
You trace it further and further out to sea. A trail.
So, we are to follow that evil.
Yes, you will be the first to fully understand our mission. You are to lead our hunting party.
Celestyna, roll a nature check with disadvantage.
8.
What could have created such a trail completely eludes you, but there's a pit in your stomach.
Am I to lead because you think you can trust me above the others?
No. I've a proposition for ye creatures on my killing floor, whose bones would soothe my children as they teethe. Ye can keep this grave to dig, or ye can join my hempen jig, where you'll be legendary ere ye live to breathe. So sails up, tails high, get down and let fly, legendary ere we live to breathe.
This has been a Hero Club production, produced by Nick Williams, George Primavera, and Jack Quaid, with associate producers Marty Abbe-Schneider and Dylan McCollum. Voice acting by George Primavera, Nick Williams, Caroline Lux, Lelia Symington, Gabe Greenspan, Dylan McCollum, John Matteson, Marty Abbe-Schneider, Natasha Mercado, Chase Mullins, Hannah Fagerbakke, Jackie Emerson, Paolo Perez, Jesse Lanza, and Chuck McCollum. Theme song composed and produced by Matthew McCollum and performed by Dylan McCollum. Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod, Ben Doyle, and Matthew McCollum for their amazing music, Mage Hand Press for their genius D&D 5th edition homebrew, Marty Abbe-Schneider for his incredible artwork, and Ali Cantonese, our hero. Follow us on Instagram at Hero Club Podcast, on Twitter at Hero Club Pod, on Twitch at twitch.tv/hero_club, and check out our website, heroclubpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and welcome to the club.
Ocean to the aviary, sails up, tails high, get down and let fly, legendary air, we live to breathe. Sails up, tails high, monster storm, look 'em in the eye, we're legendary air, we live to breathe. Even gills had better heed. Sails up, tails high, get down and let fly, legendary air, we live to breathe. Sails up, tails high, get down and let fly, legendary air, we live to breathe. Sails up, tails high, get down and
Oh boy, I do love ice cream.
No, no.
Jesus Christ.
No. No.
Lordy. Give me more ice cream, Da.
No, literally the next sentence. No.
Tickle-tee wiggle.
Please, Da.
In your
More
hand.
cream.
In your hand, Jesus.